We've been hearing about the big tech companies battling it out for leadership in AI, names such as Microsoft and Google's parent Alphabet. The companies have a big presence here in Canada. Should that be a concern if foreign companies in charge of new and uncertain technology have a large influence and a Canadian footprint? Last week, we asked former IBM CEO Ginni Rometty for her view on Canada's branch plant challenges.
There is no doubt that now, and as technologies gain more prominence, every country wants a national agenda that includes technology. I always felt we were in 170 countries, that you needed to be of the country, right? So they weren't run by expats, they were run by local. And Canada has had many great companies, by the way, that have become part of IBM, and Canada itself is a very important part of IBM. But this idea that every country wants to have something, that's quite obvious to me.
Well, let's get some more perspective now from David Skok, who is both an entrepreneur and founder of The Logic, which covers Canada's tech sector. Nice to have you with us.
Great to be with you.
So this obviously has long been a sensitive issue for Canada, generally speaking. Can we grow businesses globally? But given how quickly tech scales, it seems like an enormous issue in front of us right now.
Well, you're absolutely right that it's something that we've been talking about for generations. You know, think of GM and branch plant economy of auto sector all through the years. This is really no different. I think the difference with generative AI in particular is that there really are only a few companies that have the processing power or the pricing mechanism to be able to build this type of work. So, you know, really you are talking about Microsoft, Alphabet, and maybe a few others, not to mention maybe China geopolitical aspects of this. But it's too expensive right now. And as long as Moore's Law hasn't kicked in yet on the price of processing for generative AI, it's going to be very difficult for Canadian entrants to really own the space.
The fact that we had all this AI talent, Dave, going back a few years, right? You'd hear about all this incredible work done at institutions like the University of Toronto. Was there not an opportunity for Canada to be, more part of this conversation that's happening on a daily basis?
Well, some of those called the godfathers of AI, maybe Jeffrey Hinton, Yoshua Bengio, many of them were working for those large tech companies, right? You know, Google Brain was a big part of Google's Canadian operations, and Jeffrey Hinton was huge there. But these places still, like Vector Institute, they still are very prominent here. And I think what's interesting is the students of those godfathers have now gone off and spun off their own thing. So if you think of Cohere, Aidan Gomez, right? Aidan Gomez came out of Jeffrey Hinton's lab in Toronto. So there is still a next generation of young entrepreneurs that are now trying to get into that. I think what's needed is more capital. And that's a larger question than if we have the talent.
Well, let's put with capital conversation. Is there a conversation around AI, how it's going to influence our lives, that's coming out of Ottawa? It's interesting. You've got the leader of OpenAI, which created ChatGPT, who does a lot of interviews in which he talks about the need for almost like a UN-style global discussion on all these big issues, disruption of the workforce, safety issues. So I'm hearing it from the private company at the center of this big AI revolution. You hear less about it, though, from, let's say, the federal government on a daily basis.
It's so interesting because you had Alphabet and Google CEO just last night on 60 Minutes talk about how they also agree that we need to slow this down. Then you had this letter that was signed by many asking for a 6-month pause on AI research. The challenge is, you're right, it is a regulatory and framework challenge because we have geopolitical concerns here. If you were to pause the research and if you were to pause the commercial aspects of it, well, is China going to pause? Is Russia going to pause? And that's where we are right now. So in terms of government and what they can do, I think they have to get ahead of this a little bit, and that's why you're asking for these leaders. But keep in mind as well that we are talking about tech platforms that in the past have always wanted a kind of laissez-faire approach, more of a libertarian approach on regulation. This time it seems like they may have learned from their mistakes, and they understand, and their shareholders understand, that they need guardrails, or else we could have, just like Oppenheimer used to warn, some serious risks associated with this technology. And
I guess the flip side for our country as well is if we're going to say halt or no, what is our plan? I think of, the Google plan for a digital city in Toronto, which there were a lot of people concerned what that would mean, this private company indirectly or directly with access to data. But now that the company Sidewalk Labs has pushed away, is there a missed opportunity for, hey, can we put more technology to work and build more interesting things in our country?
There are three things that you really need for startups to grow or for sectors to grow: talent, scale, and investment. We always suffer from the scale problem in Canada. It's why you see Nuvei, being a global company, or Shopify expanding to be a global company. But we could have more investment and risk-taking at the federal government level, right? And I would argue that with generative AI, you're also dealing with military questions. And I think that's where you may see more investment, and you're starting to hear more people talk about where's the defense industry going to go with this type of technology.
That's a big question, too. And I guess, the possibility that we wake up one day and just like Netflix now has this big presence here and we didn't really have a chance to even think about the ramifications of it. Are we, do you think, potentially in a situation, even with some of those younger students of Godfathers starting their own thing, that we're going to be sort of swimming in these big tech companies with all this dominant AI in 5 or 6 years and not quite sure how to navigate it?
One of the interesting things about this technology is it's kind of the base layer, and then you build your apps on top of it, right? And so you're seeing a lot of companies build out these apps. So I think there's a huge opportunity for Canadian firms, as long as they retain their intellectual property and really, protect their own identity. They can build on top of these larger technologies, which, as I said at the beginning, are just too expensive right now for startup players to really go into.
So at least being part of this growing ecosystem.
That's right.